You are underpaid for this, probably. One kid was now on suicide watch. You could be jumped at any time. I hope you are making detailed records. And wave to the cam. Well, I don't wave to the cam. I give it a lot of dirty looks, put it that way. I do. I will say this kid that freaked out because of the cameras, he was doing one of these. Because they're every. I mean, it's a little disturbing. But it hadn't bothered him earlier, so I don't know if it was the blood sugar. He's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of them, but they're not in the patient rooms. And it's key to have them in the patient rooms. So yeah, the kid was already on suicide watch. So this is one of these things. Every hospital does this. So normally, once, there's something like this happens, they have to be on what's called a 1-to-1, which means one person is with them, like, I think it's within arm's length. But then they brought in this term, line of sight. Yeah, this worked out better so they don't have to have any extra staff, because there is no extra staffing to come and do a 1-to-1 with a patient. So the safety stuff is ridiculous. And really the safety problem has come because the shit rolls downhill. The shit at the top of nursing, the shit of the magnet nursing model that's been around since the 1990s, it all rolls downhill. And nurses think shared governance, and they have just polluted the water. That's what socialists do, though. They pollute the water. They don't want to let, socialists don't want to just leave things alone. Stop tinkering. Just let things be. Stop giving us a model for everything. Let things just flow. Like, let nurses have autonomy. They like to say, like, shared governance is nurse. Here, let me show you. So this is 2021, supporting nursing autonomy through shared governance. So autonomy means this. I mean, most people know. I'm just making a point here. The right or condition of self-government. Okay, so that's what autonomy means. The right or condition of self-government. Now let's go back to that again. Supporting nursing autonomy through shared governance. You see what I mean? Like, they just throw shit together. I don't even think they themselves know what half of it means. They spend so much time writing papers that don't make sense. If they would just let nurses do what they've been trained to do and not bring in all these models, all these different... And if Magnet would just dismantle itself, it's no different than the United Nations. Like, and here's how you know you've been manipulated. This should be easy to see. This is kind of one of those, whoa, yeah, wow. Is that I've used the United Nations as an example of this, that when you realize, no, there is more horror in the world because of the United Nations, or look into that, you will sit back and you'll think, why did I just believe these people? Why do I just believe Anthony Fauci? Yeah, I'm not in the lab with them. I'm not over there in that country. Why have I just been trained to just believe them? Well, it's simple. Everybody's been educated to believe that the people that have the most education are the smartest. And I would argue, no, they could be the most dangerous, actually, because if they don't have wisdom, and I don't think a lot of them are really all that smart with that at academia, but let's say, for instance, they're actually rather dangerous because they don't often have wisdom, because you won't gain wisdom in college. You won't. And yet what I've seen is, like, it never made sense to me why the magnet model and shared governance of nursing came in. Most nurses, they have to do all this shit on their off time. It's so ideal for the socialists of the nursing profession at the top. Yeah, they want control of the nurses. They do. It's a big population in America. And they took off the ground running. Well, they started in the late 90s, or in the mid 90s, but they really took off running in the 2000s, okay? It was way better when they weren't around, but you'll never get rid of them. They're an agency just like HHS, CDC, that believes, well, the next pandemic will get them. And it's like, yeah, why do we keep using your failed model? Oh, we'll redo the model. Yeah, why are we letting you redo the model, though? Like, because, and we do this for decades. All of us just go, oh, they're going to fix it now. No, why don't we fix it by saying, no, you no longer have a say at the table? I mean, because this makes no sense, supporting nursing autonomy through shared governance. This is just a pretty way of saying we want to get every nurse into collectivism. And then what you do, I'm not saying there's not those times when collectivism is it can be a good thing. It can be a powerful thing. It is way too much in our country, though. It really is. I don't want to say it's way too much pushed. It's just that you should want to be your individual creative self. God made everybody in the image of him, which there's many different images with many different skill sets and many different talents. And yet this world doesn't ever want you to explore that. It wants to get you into a collective so everybody thinks alike. And then the very garbage at the top that comes up and spends so much money and so much time and so many conferences doing their model, and all these nurses pay for it and go to this stuff and think, yeah, that sounds great, shared governance. It's like, no, you're being used. Yeah, that's why a lot of nurses can't stand Magnet, because you have to do all this shit in your off time, and then it affects your evaluation yearly, and like it's not fair. None of it's been fair. But Magnet itself never takes responsibility. But they are the people, because they're from the credentialing board themselves, that would say nurses need to take responsibility. Yet, what do we see right now? Every person at the top of leadership in this country, whether it's FBI, nursing, health, none of them want to take any responsibility, and there's a good reason for it. It's because they're people that don't have good ideas, and they just happen to all make six-figure incomes. So this major healthcare system that I've talked about today, okay? Yeah, this is part of it's directly from their site, because they're just pushing it right in. You can see now there's DEIB, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee, whose mission is to intentionally facilitate. I can't see all of it because I have your comment there, but you can read it. But intentionally facilitate. So this is the reason why over the years nurses have heard of shared governance, and they never sit back and really think, is this the best thing? Has this really shown to improve outcomes? The people that came up with it and want to control every nurse, even down to you can't even use nurse judgment anymore, they're not interested in positive outcomes. They're just going to tell you there's positive outcomes, and every nurse and everybody in society has been used to saying, oh yeah, they would tell us the truth. But there's no evidence. Their outcomes are poor. Magnet's initial outcomes were better nurse retention, no nurse shortages, and better working environments. That was initially what their goals were. They failed on all of them. We have a nursing shortage, but they've pushed them out intentionally. They have. When you get socialism in, making all these models, and because with shared governance and nursing, you have to do all these committees, and you have to get on a certain committee, and then you have to collaborate with this. Look, we used to just collaborate long before Magnet came along. It's like they came along and they confused everything, and it works so well by them doing that, because then everybody's being controlled by some organization or union, and all the while you have them all really on the same team. All the six-figure income people heading up the unions, heading up the associations, heading up the healthcare system, and they're bringing in this garbage where they're intentionally facilitating change because they're going to push this. Yeah, you could read the rest of it. It's not about patients anymore. So we need to get rid of the old models and start with some fresh people, not chosen by them.